Hey guys, my name is Spencer Coffman. Thank you for watching the Deception Tips videos. They're all about teaching you how to read people and detect deception so that you will be able to tell if someone is lying to you. Today we are going to talk about a cool sign of deception, just like all the times that we talk about them, where all these signs of deception can play in with one another and can really build on one another so that you can start seeing these patterns and these clusters of behavior that build on one another, and they really work together to show you whether or not someone is telling the truth. So today we've on to deception tip number 37. People often try to mask their face more than their body when they tell a lie. As a result, the body will have more leakage than the face. So this is very important. People try to mask the face. Now the face would be from the neck up. That's a very small portion of the entire body. Therefore, if they're trying to mask their face more, the body is going to have more signs of leakage. Simply because they're trying to hide what's on the face, then the body is going to have more leakage. Also, if you play it in a common sense factor, the body is bigger than the face, so the body is going to have more signs of leakage. There's much more to happen. I've got all these limbs, hands, arms, I've got my feet, legs, everything. All these other signs, all these other muscles, all over the rest of the body. So there are going to be a lot more signs. And because most people realize that when people talk to one another, we watch the face, they're going to try to hide the things on the face. Now, another thing to note is the word mask. When we're talking about liars, it's so much easier to mask facial expressions than to stop them altogether. Now, we've talked about this when we talked about contempt, how it's the only asymmetrical facial expression. Sometimes it'll be masked with a smile. Or oftentimes, when people yawn, if they try to fake a yawn or like suppress a yawn that's coming up, so like if I were to yawn and then you're going to yawn but you don't want to yawn, sometimes they like clench their jaw. Now, jaw clenching could be a sign of anger. Well, if you're suppressing a yawn and clenching your jaw, then you're not really angry. I mean, maybe you're mad that you're yawning, so that could be a sign of anger, but it's not because you're angry at something else. You are suppressing that yawn. So when people have all these facial expressions, my point with this is it's much easier for you to suppress the yawn by masking it with something else, like clenched jaw, than to turn off the yawn 100%, because you can't do it. So when someone shows like contempt or disgust, it's much easier for them to mask it with a smile or to turn a yawn into a smile or something else like that than it is for them to shut it off completely. Therefore, they are going to focus a lot on hiding things on the face more than the rest of the body, because we know as human beings that we talk to one another, and what are we taught from the time we're little to the time we get older? Maintain good eye contact. Look me in the eyes when I'm speaking to you. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You know, it's respectful to pay attention to what's going on. We're supposed to square up with one another and communicate with one another with good eye contact, proper posture, all that stuff, etc. So if we're taught to look at each other's faces from the time we're born to the time we die, then of course if someone is lying, they know that people are going to be watching their face. Therefore they know that they need to hide those expressions on their face. They can't turn them off, so they're going to cover them up with something else. Therefore, there are a lot of masking behaviors that our split-second precursor is like the contempt. Then it turns into a smile. Or suppressing a yawn that is a clenched jaw. Or things like that that may happen tons of times on the face for a split second, and then they're gone because something else happens. So when it comes to the face, you have to watch out for those, but unless you can see like 1/4 of a second facial expressions, micro expressions, then your best bet is look at the face. Also though, look at the body, because the face is going to be much more concealed than the body. People are going to be focused more on the face, so as a result, the body is going to have a lot more leakage. So if you watch out for these other signs on the body, then you're going to see things that you wouldn't see when you're just watching the face. Therefore, pay attention to the entire body as well as the face and what people are saying and how their gestures interact with what they're saying. And if you watch all of that and you look for patterns and clusters of behavior that go together, then you're going to be much better off and much better able to detect deception when it's happening. If this is your first time watching these videos, I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Feel free to leave any comments or questions on there as well. Also, if you'd like more information, we've got books, podcasts, blog posts, all available on spencercoffman.com that are 100% dedicated to teaching you exactly what everybody is really saying. Until next time.